Forever Friends. A story for Halloween. Max and Brent met at the cemetery when they were just 2 years old. Their mums bonded by their grief. Max's mum had just lost her husband, and Brent's mum, her brother. They had no choice but to be friends, really. Their mums became good friends fast. And wherever Cindy and Max went, Macy and Brent were sure to be there too. As toddlers, Max and Brent loved to play in the ball pit and the slide. As children, they just loved to be outside, telling each other stories and jokes. They loved reading too. When they were 13, they developed a new hobby: ghosts and the paranormal. Max was more into vampires, whilst Brent believed in ghosts. But their differences didn't matter. They would sneak out of their houses every night to meet at the cemetery. There, they would stay for hours, making up scary stories and trying to scare each other. Hours later, they would go back home and sneak into their beds. They never got caught. Nobody ever knew. This went on for a few years, and then when they were 16, Max had to tell his friends some bad news. His mom, Cindy, was getting married again, and they had to move overseas, very far away. Brent was devastated. They both were. With tears in his eyes, Brent asked,
"Can't you stay?"
At 16 years old, Max knew it was a possibility. And it wasn't something he hadn't already thought through. He knew Brent's mom would put him up and treat him like the second son she never had in a heartbeat. But as much as he loved his best friend, he loved his mom so much that he didn't want to leave her. And so he begged Brent to understand.
"We will always be best friends, Brent. We can write each other spooky stories. And I'll find a cemetery to visit every night over there at the same time as you. It will be like we are still together."
Soon the day came when Max and Brent would have to say goodbye. But that too was taken away from Brent. His mom sat him down and explained that Cindy had rang to apologize. They couldn't come to say goodbye as planned because they had to leave earlier. When Brent heard the news, he didn't believe her. He ran out of the house and kept on running until he reached Max's house. He knocked the door, but no one answered. So he tried the doorknob. It was unlocked, so he walked in and found an empty house. Nothing personal of Max or Cindy remained, but the wallpaper. Everything else already shipped off to their new home. Brent sat and cried. He was going to miss his best friend so much. Just before he decides to leave, he decides to visit Max's bedroom one last time. It seemed bigger now, without all of Max's stuff. But down on the floor sat a toy. It was Max's favorite childhood toy. His robot. Max would have never left home without it accidentally. So Brent knew that it had been left there especially for him. Back at home, Brent put it on his bedside table. "This is your new home. Max loves you, but he wanted you to be safe whilst he traveled. And there is nowhere else he knew you would be safe than with me. I'll take care of you now," he told it. Time carried on, as time always does, and Max and Brent did stay in touch. They wrote to each other. And now and again, they spoke on the phone too. And the following summer, Macy and Brent went to visit Cindy and Max in their new home. But soon, the distance in miles wasn't the only thing that grew distant between them. The phone calls stopped completely, and the letters passed between them less and less. And then one day, Brent wrote Max a letter, and he didn't write back. Even Cindy and Macy had stopped communicating. But the days and nights passed, the seasons changed, and the years flew by. Time went on. Brent made new friends, graduated from high school, moved into his own house, and started his own career writing books. And a few years later, he met a lady named Joel. They fell head over heels in love. They soon moved in together, and soon after their son was born, Griffin. And even though he hadn't seen Max for many years, he had never forgotten him. He had still gone to the cemetery every night, like he always had. And he wondered if Max was doing the same, wherever he was. Brent's mom was a heavy sleeper, and his wife thought that he was just getting out of bed to work on whatever book he was writing at the time. So even though Brent was missing for hours every night, still nobody knew. One night when Brent was at the cemetery, many, many years later, he suddenly laughed to himself. He was 75 years old at the time, and the thought popped into his head that soon he wouldn't have to travel to the cemetery because he would be living there. Suddenly he heard a laugh behind him, and he felt scared, feeling terrified. He turns around and sees a ghost. At first, Brent freezes. In all of his 75 years, he'd always wanted to see a ghost. And it had never happened. And now it had. He wanted to do nothing but run away in fright. So he did, he ran. But a voice told him to stop.
Wait, no, stop.
Something in the urgency of the voice made Brent stop and turn around.
Please don't hurt me.
I'm not gonna hurt you, silly. I was just kidding around, it's me. It's Max.
Oh my God, Max.
And Max smiled. Yes. And the old friends hugged, and they talked and reminisced for hours. Max explained that he hadn't wrote back to Brent that last time because there had been a fire in their home and his stepdad nearly didn't make it. The address book containing Brent's contact details had been lost, along with everything else. And his mom had fallen into such a deep depression that Max pretty much became her and his stepdad's carer. That, with trying to juggle college and later a career and his own little family, Max had lost touch with his oldest and best friend, but he had never forgotten him. Max never disclaimed how he had died, and Brent didn't ask. That didn't matter. They were together again. For a few weeks, Max and Brent meet every night at the cemetery, laughing and scaring each other and telling scary stories. Just like they always did when they were kids. Then one night, Brent dies peacefully in his sleep. And then Max and Brent were together forever, in that place where we all go when we die. Brent's only son, Griffin, was devastated at losing his dad. especially when he found out that his mom had sold the house and all its belongings so that she could afford to move into a sheltered community for the elderly. He wanted one last look, so he broke in and found just one thing left in the attic.
This is your new home now. My dad loved you so, so much. I will take care of you now.
The end. Thank you for watching.